Hello everyone, welcome back to lecture series in switchgear and protection. In this lecture, I am going to deliver about induction type directional overcurrent relays. Now, in previous class, we have discussed about non-directional overcurrent relays. What is non-directional overcurrent relays and what is the operation of non-directional overcurrent relays, and we have seen some of the problems regarding non-directional overcurrent relays as well. Now, why we are moving to directional overcurrent relays instead of having non-directional overcurrent relays? Because there is a drawback in case of non-directional overcurrent relays. That is, it will sense the overcurrent whenever there is abnormality occurs, but it doesn't have a provision to sense in what direction the fault occurs. So, the feature is missing in case of non-directional overcurrent relays. So that is the drawback in case of non-directional overcurrent relays. So the directionality features will be helpful in some of the applications like parallel feeders. Let us see what is the necessity of the directionality feature during two parallel feeders. Now let us take a two bus system. It is a simple two bus system having two parallel feeders. Now I have taken this as generator bus, and I have taken the second bus is for another power station, or let it be load bus, whatever it may be. Now, so for protection I have placed a relays at each point of transmission. For simplicity, I have taken at each bus I have taken one relay in two parallel feeders. Now, for example, there is a fault occurs in one of the feeder. In this case, what happen is the current which is high amount of current is flowing through the fault, right? Now, similarly, as it is a parallel feeder, the current which is flowing through this second feeder will be directed towards this fault only instead of moving to load. Because of the parallel feeder, the current which is moving towards the fault in whenever there is a fault occurs in other parallel feeder instead of moving loads or another power system network. Now because of this fault, if you are using directional current, for example, if you are using directional overcurrent relays here, now what happen is, for example, if you are using a non-directional overcurrent relays only, now what happen is, this is also non-directional overcurrent relay, so it will sense the fault whenever the current is extended the limit. For example, let us say setup value. Whenever the current passing through the relay is above the setup value, the relay will operate. Now, in this case, as it is a fault, the two currents are of higher one only compared to normal condition. Now, in this case, what happen is, the all relays which is placed in a parallel feeder will operate according to the time delay they have given. In previous class we have discussed what is the time delay, what is the necessity of time delay. For relay coordination we have taken some delays in relay operating time. Now, so with some time delay all the relays will be operated, hence there is no power transmission from one to another. That means either let us take generator bus to load bus, there is no power transmission even though the fault is occur in one parallel feeder. So let us take, for example, here if you use a directional overcurrent relays, now what happened? Let us observe here, the same two bus system and the same parallel feeders I have taken here. So this is sent to another power system network or any load. and it is from generator bus or another power system bus. Now, so these are the relays that I have taken. Now let us take these two relays are directional overcurrent relays having a directional feature, the arrow indicates, for example, the current direction or the power direction is in this direction, the relay will operates, or else the relay will not operates. So that's why the symbol is. So this thing I will discuss later. What is the direction of overcurrent relays, and at what locations directional overcurrent relays to be used, and at what locations non-directional overcurrent relays will be used. I will discuss later. Now let us observe here. I have taken two directional relays here, and also mention the direction also, the relay direction. Now the same fault has been occur in this case in line 1 itself. So what happened here is the fault current will be flown from the generator bus, similarly in previous case, and in, from parallel feeder 2, again the fault current is try to flow from parallel feeder 2 to fault. Now in this case, so let us observe here the direction of the relay operating direction is like this. So let us take this relay. So the current direction is not equal to the direction of directional overcurrent relay. But in case of this relay, so the current direction is similar to the operating direction of this overcurrent relay, right? So before operating the overcurrent relay, that because of this change in direction, the directional relay will be open circuited. Hence there is no amount of current which is passing through this fault. During this condition, what happen is the same amount of current will be passed to load or another power system network. Now even though if we have fault in one parallel bus or one parallel line, there is a continuous power supply to the load, right? It is not an adequate amount of power will be generated to other end of power system network, but some amount of power has been given, right? Compared to this case, some amount of power is given to another power system network or loads, right? So that's why this directionality relays, the directional features of overcurrent relays will be helpful in case of parallel feeders. Or we have another advantages as well. After completion of the working of induction type directional overcurrent relay, we will discuss about at what locations we will use directional overcurrent relays and at what locations we use non-directional overcurrent relays will be discussed after completion of this basics. So how this directionality feature will be achieved with the help of non-directional overcurrent relay. So let us see here, in order to make non-directional relay to operate to a fault flowing in a specified direction, directional element is added to a non-directional relay. So for the same non-directional overcurrent relay, we will add some directionality feature to this non-directional overcurrent relay. So hence the directional overcurrent relay will be constructed. Let us see what is the construction. Now the applications of directional overcurrent relay is for generator protection, it will be called as reverse power relay will be used, and for parallel feeder protection we use directional overcurrent relay only. So these are the two applications of directional overcurrent relay. Now let us come to construction of directional over current relay. Now, so it has two elements, right? So along with non-directional over current relay, which was discussed in previous lecture, we just added some directional element to this non-directional over current relay. Now, so how the construction will be? So for directionality feature also, there is a E-shaped electromagnet, that is upper electromagnet, as well as U-shaped lower electromagnet. Now, potential transformer. The signal which is obtained from potential transformer will be given to voltage coil of directional element. And the lower magnet. Let us come to lower magnet. So, for this lower magnet also, we have electromagnetic coils. We have electromagnetic coil. So, this coil secondary will be connected to primary of non-directional over current relay, which has some plug settings, that means taps, right? So by selecting the plug setting bridge, we can take in whatever the plug setting value we have. So that is the primary coil. This is the primary coil of over current relay. And also this was enclosed with the help of plug setting bridge. The current coil is enclosed with a plug setting bridge. So this current coil signal has been coming from CT secondary. So the signal which is coming from potential transformer will be given to voltage coil of directional element, and the current signal, that means the CT signal, will be given to current coil of the directional element. So this is, let it be I, and this will be the current which is corresponding to voltage. Let me indicate it is IV, right? I suffix V. V indicates voltage, potential coil. Now, so in case of over current relay, we have another winding as well, that is secondary winding. Similarly, in case of non-directional over current relay, the primary and secondary coil will be wounded on, primary coil is wounded on upper electromagnet, and the secondary winding is connected on lower electromagnet as well as upper electromagnet. In previous class, like we have seen. Now, but in this case, the change is, it was not short circuited like previous case. So these terminals are X and Y. Now, X and Y terminals will be short circuited when and only the directional element is moved. The disk which is used in the directional element is moved, then only the XY terminals will be short circuited. So according to that, the construction has been modified. Right. Now let us take operation whenever the both the signals from potential transformer has been given to upper magnet of this directional element, and the CT signal has been given to the lower magnet of this one. Now in this case, let us see here, let me take, this is the voltage reference, let me take a voltage reference vector V. So whenever we have applied this voltage to this coil, there is a current will be passed with some, the current will be passed, that is IV, with some phase difference, let it be 5, with some phase difference, let it be 5. Now by having, and we have also current I, and also we have current I. For example, in case of directional overcurrent relay, we made a change that the current will be always leading the voltage. So according to that, we have different types of connections. We will discuss in next session the connections which are used in case of directional overcurrent relay to get the leading current. So the current will be leads here. So that is current I. So because of the interaction between these two fluxes, that means with the help of potential coil, some flux will be generated, and with the help of this current coil, some of the flux will be generated, right? So with the interaction of these two fluxes, phi I and phi sh, so with the interaction of these two fluxes, the disc will be rotated, but the condition is, whenever previously we have seen, so we have taken, for example, this relay has to be operated when the current direction is reversed. That means in this direction only, whenever the current is passing in this direction only, the disc will be rotates. So according to that, we have done a manufacture of this relay. So in this case, what happened is, for example, the current direction is not in this direction. Because of using some blocking mechanism, the disc will not rotate, right? For example, the current is passing with the reference direction in case of this relay, then only the disc will rotate. So because of this disc rotation, the contacts will be closed. So when the contacts are closed, when the XY contacts are closed, the current is also passing through the secondary coil because of induction effect, which we have seen in previous class. And with the interaction of these two fluxes, that is primary flux as well as secondary flux, the disc will be rotated in case of overcurrent relay. Hence the trip signal will be generated to circuit breaker. So this is the operation of directional overcurrent relay. So compared to non-directional overcurrent relay, the modification is such that the secondary coil will be short circuited whenever the disc will be moved. And when the disc will be moved, the current direction has been in the direction of relay. The current direction, in such cases only, the disc will be rotated. So this is the construction feature of directional overcurrent relay. Now, so let us discuss some key points regarding this working of non-directional overcurrent relay. So the first one is, the upper magnet of directional element carries a winding connected through PT to system voltage, that we call it as voltage coil. So we have seen voltage coil, and the lower magnet is connected to CT, and in series with this lower magnetic coil is connected to CT, and this is in series with upper magnet of overcurrent relay primary winding. In series with overcurrent relay primary winding with some plex setting value. So by adjusting the plex setting value, at what fault current the relay has to be operated, we can adjust. Okay. Now, when a fault takes place, the fault current flow through the current coil, so which is given from CT of a directional relay, which interacts with flux produced by voltage coil. The disc will rotate only if the torque produced in a particular direction, which depends on the direction of power flow, is whether the current is leading or lagging the voltage. What is this leading or lagging? Whenever the PT signal has been given to voltage coil of directional overcurrent relays, the directional element of directional overcurrent relay. So for example, this is the, let me take a reference voltage V. Now this V signal has been given to voltage coil. Because of this voltage, the current will be passing through this coil, right? So let me indicate the coil voltage is IV. So because of this current, there is a flux produced in this coil. Let me call it as phi V, because of voltage phi V. So the angle between these two, let me take as phi. We have already discussed such that the current which is flowing through current coil is always leads the voltage. So for example, let us take this current value as this. This is I. The current which is obtained from CT and which is given to current coil. So because of this current, there is a flux has been generated, that is phi I. Let me take it as phi I. Now the the angle between voltage and current is theta, that is power factor angle theta. Now with the interaction of these two fluxes, one is phi V and one is phi I, with the interaction of these two fluxes, the torque has been generated, right? So the torque, what is the torque expression? As we have already discussed, torque is directly proportional to phi V, that means interaction between two fluxes, right? Phi V and phi I, sine of angle between these two, right? Sine of angle between these two. What is the angle? It is theta plus phi. Theta plus phi. Theta plus phi. Now this phi V, the flux phi V, is because of this voltage, right? And this phi I is because of this current, right? So that's why I will be modified this expression as V into I into sine of theta plus phi. Theta plus phi is the angle between these two fluxes. Maximum torque, for example, when the maximum torque will be achieved, it is a sinusoidal quantity, right? So whenever sine of theta plus phi is 1, that means when the theta plus phi value will be 90 degrees, then only the maximum torque has been achieved in a relay. Now, so to get Tmax, now let me take a example. For example, it is 90 degrees. Theta plus phi is 90 degrees. So theta plus phi is 90 degrees. So this is the vector corresponding to this theta plus phi is 90 degrees. So this is the 90 degrees perpendicular value. Now this at this current only, what happen is the torque is maximum. So let me call it as maximum torque line. This is the maximum torque line, and let me indicate the angle between the voltage and this current corresponding to maximum torque line as tau. So this angle I can call it as tau. Now, so the tau is the angle between voltage and current corresponding to maximum torque. Current corresponding to maximum torque. Now, so let me replace these terms, that is theta plus phi, in the value of tau. So for example, for simplification purpose only. So by observing these two vectors, that is voltage and the current corresponding to maximum torque, I can replace these terms with respect to tau, right? So let me write phi plus tau is equal to 90 degrees, and then tau is equal to 90 minus 5, right? 90 minus 5, or I can rewrite like phi is equal to 90 minus tau. 90 minus tau. Now, in this vector, I am replacing this phi value as 90 minus tau. So, by replacing phi is equal to 90 minus tau, I am rewriting this expression as the T is directly proportional to V into I into, which is sine of theta plus phi, right? Now I can replace, first I need to avoid this proportionality, that is T is equal to K times that of voltage and current into sine of theta. I am replacing phi with 90 minus tau, that is 90 minus tau. So the expression will be modified as T is equal to K into V into I times of sine of 90 plus theta, that is cos theta. So it will be changed like cos of theta minus tau. So this is the final expression for torque in case of directional overcurrent relay. Now, how this leading current has been achieved? By placing different connections. I will discuss that later. So this is, remember this thing, the torque equation. Hence we have observed that the torque expression is equal to T is equal to K times of V into I into cos of angle between theta minus tau. So this is the torque expression in case of directional overcurrent relay. Now, when the disc rotates, it closes the contacts of, so with the torque, the disc has been rotated for a directional element. Now, whenever this disc rotates, it will closes the secondary of overcurrent relay. We have seen, right? So hence, the secondary flux is also produced in case of overcurrent relay. With the interaction of these two primary and secondary fluxes of overcurrent relay, the overcurrent relay disc will be rotates, and the disc, because of this rotation, the trip contact will be closed each other. Hence, the trip signal has been generated to circuit breaker. So that is the operation of directional overcurrent relay. Now, this directional element will operate. The directional element will operate first, then only the overcurrent will be operated.